Final update. My parents tried to screw over my dying stepmother, blew up all of our lives instead. Original post. My 17 female stepmother Jane is a wonderful, wonderful woman. She and my father got married when I was 4, and she's been a rock in my life ever since. My mother was always my primary caregiver, but up until that point, her relationship with my father was acrimonious, and I basically never saw him. Jane was the reason they developed a stable co-parenting relationship. She encouraged everyone to have a good relationship with each other and was always there to support me and my mom when things got rough. Jane was always a really hard worker. When she met my dad, he was living out of a hotel, and my mother was doing everything in her power to keep me away from him because she was petty and angry that their relationship didn't work out. Meanwhile, Jane had a great job, a nice house, helped my dad get back on his feet, negotiated a visitation schedule with my mom, who hated her for a long time, and made sure my dad sent us money every week because neither of them could afford an attorney to negotiate child support payments. Jane had no reason to do any of these things, but as I got older, she made it clear that she loved me as much as she loved my half-brothers, who were born a few years later. I even have my own room in her house because, at a time, we lived with my grandparents and various boyfriends of my mom, and Jane felt that I needed a more stable environment than that. She's like the opposite of the evil stepmom. When I was 15, Jane won a big lawsuit against an airline company and was awarded upwards of $1 million. She used the money to build sizable trust funds for me and my brothers, so that we would be taken care of later in life. Despite having a lot more money, she still wanted to live a fairly modest life, so she paid off the house she has and has been living there ever since with my dad. Sure, she bought a new car and they went on a few nice vacations, but she didn't blow all her money on stupid things, which I respected. About a year ago, things started getting really weird. Whenever I saw Jane, she seemed to look sicker and sicker, but no one would tell me or my brothers why, even though I know they knew. All we knew is that she was at the hospital a lot. Around the same time, my mom started coming around my dad a lot more and acting really strange, basically like she was trying to romance him. Whenever Jane was in hospital, my mother would insist on spending the night at their house and playing mom to my brothers, which was so weird to me because she never liked them or Jane. She'd be the perfect little housewife, and my mom is not like that at all. It was super fake. Worst of all, my dad started falling for it. I'm not stupid. I'm pretty sure they were sleeping together. I tried to shield my brothers from it, but they're not dumb either. I tried talking to my dad too, but he insisted it wasn't like that. Then, a few weeks ago, my mom started talking about all the places she'd like to visit, how she wanted a new car and was looking to invest. Which was weird because my mom has been a bartender her whole life and has lived paycheck to paycheck since before I was born. She was acting like she was about to get a lot of money, which started to make me really suspicious. Between Jane being sick and my mom acting all nouveau-riche, I had a lot of questions. Finally, I decided to visit Jane in the hospital and ask her about my trust fund. I found out that if anything happened to her, my dad would inherit all the money, including full control of the trusts for me and my brothers. She asked me why I was so interested in the trust fund, so I told her what was going on with my parents and how my mom had been acting with my dad. I didn't want to, but after everything she did for me, she deserved the truth. It really hurt me to break her heart like that, especially once I found out that she was basically in hospice at this point because of irreversible kidney failure. She's only got a few more months. We both cried so much. Then 2 days ago, everything came to a head. My mom stormed in furious and started arguing with my dad. Apparently, Jane met with her lawyer and changed the trust so that my dad would get nothing, and all of the trusts would be controlled by my step-aunt. She demanded to know how Jane found out about their relationship, and I came out and told them that I told Jane everything. I told them that if they wanted to play stupid games, they would win stupid prizes. And that I wasn't going to let them screw Jane over after all the help she gave my family when she didn't have to. My mom slapped me, and my dad just looked so defeated. Then my mom told my dad that she didn't really love him, that she was just pretending so he would marry her and she could get all of the money. The worst part about it is that my brothers witnessed the whole thing. And now, on top of their mom dying, they have to deal with a cheating dad and his vindictive ex. Our whole family is in ruins, and I feel like it's my fault even though I know it's not. Yesterday, I visited Jane again and told her about the fallout. She apologized and said that she had to dissolve my trust fund to make sure my mother didn't get a hold of the money, but that as her oldest, I will inherit the house/property after she's gone, and that's worth more than the other 2 trust funds combined. My father won't get anything because she's going to divorce him before she dies, and honestly, I was happy for her. She made me promise to take care of my brothers and told me that once I turn 18 this summer, I can kick my dad out of the house if I want to, and I fully plan to do that, by the way. I haven't talked to my dad since, and I can't even look at my mom. I can't believe they would conspire to do this to Jane after all this time. Just proof that they deserve each other, and I'm embarrassed that they're my parents. Once I turn 18, I'm going to cut my dad out as much as I can and cut my mom out completely. I hope she rots. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and be at the hospital as much as I can until Jane passes away. Edit: some people are asking a lot of the same stuff, so I'll just clarify here. My brothers, my plan is to use some of the estate money to fight for guardianship of my twin brothers so that they can live in the house while I kick my dad out. The trust. Jane dissolved my third of the trust and switched it over to cover house maintenance, putting the house in my name so my dad wouldn't get it. My parents. The big fight happened on Sunday, and I haven't spoken to either of my parents since. Hope that clears some stuff up. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. I'm so sorry you're going through such a hard time, OP. The most important thing you've inherited from Jane is a strong moral compass. You could have taken the easy road and ignored everything your mom and dad were doing, but your compassion for Jane is proof you take after her the most. Thanks a lot. Yeah, when my mom was yelling at me, she asked why I couldn't keep my mouth shut and mind my business. And I told her, because Jane raised me better than that. And that's when she slapped me. I feel like she's always been threatened by Jane, and that was just proof. I'm so sorry, OP. Jane may not have given birth to you, but she's your mom through and through. I'm sorry she's dying, but I'm sure she's happy and relieved to know that even after she's gone, you'll have her back and keep an eye on her kids. Sending good thoughts your way. Thanks a lot. I really love my brothers, and I know it's my job to take care of them properly now that they won't have a mom around. Jane did so much to raise me, and my brothers won't have the opportunity, so it's only right that I help them. Now for the first update. Hi guys, it's me again. A lot of you ask for an update in my situation with Jane and my family, so I've come back with a few things that have happened since I initially posted. I will try to organize this in a way that addresses the major points from the last time. Jane is still alive and doing surprisingly well, considering the circumstances. She's always been a fighter, and although her disease has been progressing, she's keeping a positive attitude with everything that's going on. She says she's grateful that she was able to see everyone's true colors before she passed, so she could go into the next life knowing the truth. We have become so unbelievably close in the past few months, and it's getting harder and harder to know that she's getting close to the end. She doesn't ever talk about it though, and I know it's because she doesn't want to hurt me. But we both know the situation, so we're just making the best of our time. I'm also not being completely transparent about all of the drama at home, but to be honest, I don't think she needs to hear all of that. We did end up having that surprise celebration of life that I planned. A lot more people showed up than I thought, but they all got an Airbnb near the hospital where Jane is, and we were able to take her out and spend some time at the lake near the facility. It was super low-key, which I know Jane preferred, and I was even able to get her old college friend to come after I found him on LinkedIn. Lol. We had food, and there was music, and we played games. It was overall a really great time, except Jane started crying at the end, but she promised me it was just because she was grateful. My brothers are also doing okay. My aunt, Jane's sister, is currently paying for them to go to therapy, and they've become a lot more open about talking about the situation. They just turned 13, but a lot of time it feels like I'm talking to actual adults. Lol. They've become really independent lately, in a good way, and aside from me driving them places, I don't really have to do much for them anymore. Their grades aren't super great, but they're not failing, and considering the circumstances, it could be a lot worse. They still hang out with friends, and I'm keeping an eye out for depression symptoms and stuff. The situation with my mom is as funny as it is embarrassing, to be honest. She spent a few weeks ignoring us, and then she tried to crawl back into my life, basically begging me to let her move in because her lease is about to expire and she has nowhere to go. That convo went about as well as you'd think, and she ended up calling me an ungrateful bee and saying that I couldn't just ignore her because she's my mom. I told her to get out of the house before I called the cops and to go back to my dad, who at that point was only coming home every few days to check on us and grab some clothes. After that, she tried coming by a few times, and when I wouldn't open the door, she would lose her mind and start yelling through the neighborhood. After 3 instances of this, I finally called the cops, but because I'm 17, they told me there's a possibility that I would have to go home with her, since technically I'm a minor and need to be with a custodial parent. I told them no way, because I was the only one watching my brothers at the moment. That led to a whole thing where, after a few hours, my dad basically showed up, and I was allowed to stay there because there was finally an adult present, and I'd basically lived there for over a year. After that, the cops firmly told my mom that if she keeps showing up and causing drama, my neighbors confirmed that she'd been there a few times screaming. They would arrest her for trespassing, since technically it was Jane's house and not hers. She left and hasn't tried coming to the house anymore, but for a while, she would call me constantly, telling me I owed her and all kinds of stuff. She's now blocked and everything, and anything she needs to say to me gets filtered through my dad. As for my dad, well, since he's basically required to be here for another 2 months until I turn 18, we've basically just avoided each other. It's not too bad though, because I've been heavily relying on guilting him for everything to get my way. For example, he was going to contest the divorce, but I threatened to kick him out when I turn 18 if he did that. So he just signed all the paperwork for a quickie divorce and is basically doing whatever Jane tells him to do. I don't openly disrespect him or anything, he's still my dad, but I've made it clear that I have no intentions of doing anything he says ever again, and he doesn't fight me on it. Most of the time, he's just in his room, and sometimes he'll go back to my mom's, but only for a day or 2 before they argue and she kicks him out again. Lol. I haven't decided whether or not I'll kick him out yet, and we haven't talked about it either, so I'm kind of playing it by ear. As for me, I'm handling everything as best as I can. I found a new job where I make a little more money, so I've been focusing on saving as much as I can and just being there for my brothers. Between working, school, and visiting Jane, I've been so busy I haven't really had time to stop and think about everything. But I know it'll come. One of my friends has really stepped up and helped me manage everything, and I'm super grateful to him for being there for me and my brothers. So we'll see how that goes. Anyways, I wish I had something more exciting to share, but that's what's happened since my last post. Thanks again for all the support in my last post. I remember your first post. That is such a big pile of horse crap to be dealing with. But you sound so incredibly mature and like you're really taking it in stride. Your parents have really failed you and your brothers here. But I'm so proud of how you've managed to step up to the plate and hold your ground against them. I'm still sorry you have to be the next best adult in this scenario. It's also great to hear that Jane is still alive and that you guys got to do a celebration of life with her. I can only hope that when I am at my own end, I have people who love me this dearly and this deeply. I hope you and your loved ones are able to make some more happy memories with her. Thank you, and I promise that as long as you are a good person and work to make the lives of those around you better instead of being a burden, you will have many people around you who will love and cherish you. Jane was a wonderful example for you and raised you well. I'm so sorry you have to deal with all of this. You are so young, and this should be a carefree time in your life. However, I'm glad your brothers have you. Curious, does your dad and bio mom work at all? Or do they just mooch off Jane and others? I mean, it seems like they have a lot of time on their hands to do nothing but be horrible people. Yes, my bio mom works as a bartender most nights. She's been working at the same bar basically my whole life. As for my dad, he works in industrial sales. He makes a pretty decent living, but I think most of his money recently has been going toward my bio mom, since he never seems to have money to do anything anymore. Lol. Second update. Hello everyone, it's me again. I've gotten quite a few messages in the last months asking for an update, so I'm going to post my final update here and hope that's enough to answer the questions everyone has been asking. I'm sorry that it took so long to update, but a lot has been going on. As many of you may already assume, Jane passed away early this fall. It was very traumatic and sudden, but the silver lining is that she exceeded every doctor's expectation for her life. And when she did go, she was surrounded by family, including me, my brothers, and my dad. She was on palliative care and felt no pain except for a brief moment right at the end, and we are all very grateful for that. Towards the end, Jane was physically pretty much done, but her mind was as sharp as ever. I took the advice of many of you here and recorded some voice notes for my brothers. I originally wanted to do video, but by the time we were able to do it, we both decided they didn't need to remember her wrapped in tubes and in a hospital gown. She also wrote many letters for her friends, family, and even for me to open when I reached certain milestones. She gave me one to open right after she passed away. And while I won't share too many details, I can say with absolute certainty that she is and forever will be who I consider my mother without question. It was very, very emotional for everyone, and although it has been a few months, I am still very heartbroken about her no longer being with us. She was a kind, gentle woman, and in my heart, she is who I aspire to be. My brothers are obviously very hurt about our mom dying, but just like before, they're taking it surprisingly well. They are still going to therapy both together and separately, and we have a lot of conversations whenever they feel like talking. We've always been close, but I feel like we're closer now. Even though I work, we hang out as often as we can, and I'm doing everything I can to be the support that they need. They don't know it, but I definitely need them as much as they need me, because they're the only ones I can really talk to about anything. Ironically, now that our family glue is gone, we're pulling together stronger than before. My dad and I mended fences, so to speak. We went to a few therapy sessions together where he took full responsibility for his behavior, and I've forgiven him as much as I can, especially since he eventually started doing everything he could to be there for Jane at the end, even though they still went through with a divorce. He's still living with us and things are a little tense, but they're much better than before. He's my dad, and I love him, but he was also broken by Jane's condition, and he wasn't able to cope in a healthy manner. Her dying really brought some light into his eyes, so to speak, and now he's really stepping up to be the man he was supposed to be. A lot of people might comment saying too little too late, but again, he's my dad, and for my own mental health, I have chosen to forgive him. As far as I know, my bio mom pretty much vanished off the face of the earth when I turned 18. She tried a few times to convince me to let her live with us, but I wasn't having any of it. Even my dad told her he's officially done, and after we all blocked her and everything, she stopped reaching out. She doesn't have any relatives who talk to her, so I don't have to worry about that. But I did hear from people who follow her on Facebook that she has a new boyfriend that she's living with. I don't want to stalk her or anything. I really don't care. She hasn't come to me with any kind of apology, so to be honest, she can get bent. It's a little hard for me to think that she just walked away the second I turned legal, just because she didn't get any of Jane's money. But oh well, true colors and all that. Guess 18 years was too long to pretend to care. I'm just so angry with her, I don't want anything to do with her anymore. Maybe that will change one day, but I'm not holding my breath. As for me, I'm doing pretty okay. I decided to take a year before I start college to handle all of this BS, and I'm still at my same job, so I'm saving up money wherever I can. My friends have all been great supporters, and I'm so grateful for everyone, especially you Reddit folks, who have been checking in on me and making sure I'm okay. I'm taking things one day at a time, and that's been working great to keep me focused. My goal is to go to college next year and study journalism, but I'm playing it by ear. I can always go back to school, but right now my family needs me, and if that takes longer than a year, then so be it. Thank you everyone. This will be my last update, and I very much appreciate all the love and support you've shown our family. Jane, I know, was very grateful for all of you too, and all I can say is, hold your loved ones tight and be careful of anyone who seems too good to be true. Much love and blessings to you all. Your dad still sucks. I went back and read OP's past posts. All I have to say is that OP's dad is just as bad as Biomom, my opinion. But yeah, a few therapy sessions definitely fixed him. I understand why you would feel this way, but the therapy is ongoing. He's actually insisting on it, and he's going to individual therapy as well. We all are. The goal isn't to fix him as much as it is to help us all cope with each other and what happened. I think Jane dying broke us all in a way that won't ever be fixed. Who has control over the money Jane left for her children? Does your father have access to it? Is it possible that his attitude only changed because he's expected to gain access to the money Jane left? He might still be secretly involved with your biological mom and only pretending to change his behavior as a way to get closer to Jane's money. For a while, I did honestly think this. However, shortly after Jane died, I found out he was looking into apartments to move into. When I confronted him about it, he said that he was trying to be respectful and assumed I wouldn't want to have anything to do with him, so he was preparing just in case. I think the fact that he wasn't parading his plan around in front of me to try and get brownie points says a lot, along with the fact that he's been very involved in our therapy. That gives me a lot of hope. I understand a lot of people have bad experiences, but like I've been saying, my dad isn't a bad person. He's just stupid. Last story. I was sent a DNA test because my mom and sister got into a disagreement. My Christmas gift this year was a DNA test kit my mom sent me after my little sister let me know our dad might not be my real dad. This was after my mom and sister got into a major disagreement, so my sister threw me in the middle of their fight. All I can say is mad respect to my dad, whether he is biologically mine or not. I never would have even guessed this was a possibility. He's never treated me differently, and if anything, he's been my rock. I also found out my sister had been making stories up about me and telling everyone my personal struggles and battles all these years, which resulted in a lot of family members ignoring me and isolating me and my 2 kids. My dad, again not sure if he's biological or not yet, and my older brother are the only ones who never turned their backs on us. I never understood why my kids and I were not invited to family holidays, etc. any more years ago. It made me sad, but I just accepted it. On top of this news, I was also recently diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis mutilans, which is a rare and severe type of PSA. The condition ultimately causes bone loss in the affected joints, which can make it impossible to bend or straighten them. I haven't told my family yet, but it's just one more personal battle I'm ready to take on, and that's okay. I have a long, extensive background of medical issues but haven't given up yet. So, with the DNA test kit, my mom wants me to take it so she can basically throw it in my sister's face if it comes back saying my dad is my biological dad. But she said she doesn't know what she will feel if it comes back saying he isn't. Meanwhile, my sister has been trying to convince my dad to kick my 2 kids and me out of his apartment, especially if he's not my bio dad, which my dad, bio or not, said he wasn't going to do. I've been working, trying to save money and get a place for my kids and me, so I'm trying either way. I just feel lost, confused, and alone. And I'm open to any advice or suggestions to help during this time, now that my family circle just got even smaller because I can't trust anyone at the moment. Apparently, it doesn't matter to your dad if you're his biological child. He loves you regardless. Why do anything for a family that rejects you? You love your dad and he loves you. Tell them you haven't been part of their family since they rejected you. Keep in touch with your dad and brother. Tell him what's happening and cut the rest off. I have cut contact with my sister. However, my sister ended up cutting contact with my mom. Like my sister and me, my mom and I have also had issues in the past seeing eye to eye. It always felt like my mom and sister teamed up against me. My mom also would baby my older brother and favor my 2 siblings. So now that my sister is no contact with mom and my brother went no contact with mom as well, I'm the only one talking to my mom. It's kinda sad because, for the first time ever, my mom actually talks to me more than she ever has. I've literally spent years longing for a mom-daughter bond like my sister and her had. I love my sister, and even if she gave me devastating news, and I have to love her from a distance, I still hope she is always okay and her family's happy. So, with that being said, it's hard to go no contact with my mom because she finally answers my phone calls instead of ignoring me, and she has been listening to me and telling me about her life, etc. Even though it's probably not the healthiest thing, because my mom also ends up steering conversations, talking about my sister and how upset she is that she isn't talking to her. The days when I'm noticed and my mom spends a little more time talking to me, I like those times. Sounds lame, I'm sure, but I feel conflicted with that part.